Reef Beef. My name is Rich.
And my name is Benjamin.
And today is our 25th episode, and we are going to take care of some business, and we are going to answer some Reef Beef questions, some Ask Reef Beef questions. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. And to celebrate the 25th episode, Ben is in front of a sheet, and I'm in front of the home tank. Ooh, the home tank.
Your backdrop's more magnificent than mine.
It's looking all right, I think. I'm pretty happy with it right now.
I'm not too mad about my sheet.
Your sheet looks pretty great.
It's kind of plush.
You know, I saw a picture of this tank from 7 years ago. Maybe we'll have Snowman put it up on the Facebook's memories. And I thought that was pretty boss then. Not so much now. I think this version is way better.
If I can say this because I have been to your house twice, your tank is hard to appreciate in, like, I'm just telling beefers, when you look at his tank, you're like, damn, that's a nice reef tank. It is far more complicated when you're sitting in front of it. It's like multi-layered and multi-leveled in 3 dimensions. And again, it just looks like a crowded, busy reef tank. But when you stand in front of it, it's like there's that humongous piece of live rock that you have in there.
Yeah.
And then there's like caves. It's hard to explain, but it's one of those things where it's like you think that blows you away looking at it. If you stood in front of it, it is far more complicated than it looks.
It's essentially 200-pound pieces of live rock in there.
Yeah.
And it's designed so there's caves and crevices that you can see, and so the fish do what they would normally do. So instead of being a wall of rock, it's a pile of rock, but it's very airy, but it's watery, which sounds dumb, but that was the idea, and it's worked out. And I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with the new lights. Still running the skies over this, and I have them. I messed around with them before we went live, so they would look good on the camera, and that looks pretty good. I think that looks all right. I gotta feed it real quick.
That acro in the front, that blue one.
This one?
Yeah, man, I have always been so in love with that. But when you're standing in front of it, I cannot even describe how fragile it looks like at its base, at its attachment point.
It breaks off all the time. I just glue it back. I got a fragment. I should send you some.
Please.
Yeah, this piece is gonna have to come off, and some pieces back there are gonna have to come off.
The first time I went to your house and I was working the magnet on your glass just a tiny bit, but then I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. And you came in the room, you're like, hey, please don't do that. And I was like, man, because another thing, if you saw Rich's tank in person, like a lot of it is way up by the glass, and you just get the impression it's so complex that you're like, man, if I knock some of this over, I'm just like the world's biggest asshole.
I use the Tunzi magnet because it's only this thick.
Yeah.
So, and it's barely missing some stuff right now. So I'll have to go in and snap some stuff.
By the way, for the beefers, that's my favorite cleaning magnet is the Tunzi magnet.
Yeah. So I'm looking for some more candy canes, some weird ones.
I was gonna, I saw you put that on Facebook. I was gonna let you know, but then someone said in the comments they had a certain type, and you said, no, I already have that one. That's the one I was talking about.
I've got the big-headed red and green ones.
So you have like the kryptonite green Colostrea, but another one that I have like a metallic teal colored one.
Like the oh, yeah, I don't have any of that one left right now.
Okay, I'll send you some of that.
That'd be great. Oh, and look, here's that other coral you sent me.
Which one?
That one we saw at Aqua.
Oh, no way. Astreopora?
Yes.
The lime green Astreopora?
Yeah, from what's that store called?
Unlimited Color Corals in Houston, Texas.
There it is. And they sent
Samantha and Christopher Obergas. Very cool people.
Me something else. I don't know what it is, but it's
she threw in a frag. I don't know if it's Cephastria or what it was.
I don't know, but it's over there. So the tank down here and here and here used to be all these dendrophilia, really big, lush. They're like Tubastria or sun coral, but on steroids. And 2 years ago and a year ago, I had some kind of protozoan infection come through and really screw over my LPS, my NPS corals. It got a lot of, there was a lot of these things digging around inside of them, and
really
some of the polyps, detached, and it was quite the mess, and it kind of hit me twice. Not quite sure what it was. Lots of theories abound, but I am leaving them all in place to see how well and if they can recover.
But that's the most, and you can't tell from the video or pictures. And unfortunately, the only way to really get a glimpse of that, maybe Snowman, because like one of the times when I went to your house, I took some pretty decent photos of your tank. And maybe through this, like Snowman will show some of the stills of that, because that's one of the most incredible parts of your tank. Like halfway down and below, he's got an incredible amount of NPS, non-photosynthetic corals in there. And a couple of them are unbelievably rare. Basically, you can't get them.
Those are fine. Those are fine. That one.
Yeah, they're in the far left.
And these two, those bulletproof for me. Those have always been super easy. They're really easy to feed. But for whatever happened, there's still a lot of tissue on the dendros. They still put tentacles out, but they're not that big, lush, healthy that they were.
I do have to wonder if it is your increased water changes, thus the lowering of nutrients, which, I don't know, I might be speaking out of turn, but it makes me think that some of those NPS do, in fact, absorb nutrients through the water, through their skin.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you're crazy and wrong.
We all know that.
Because I know that the infection raced through the system twice.
Okay.
Maybe it was 3 years ago now. And I also know when I was in the dankest part of the depression, I did not feed as much as I should. And I also had salinity issues because I wasn't paying attention as much as I should have been. But I was depressed. So what are you going to do about it? So I think those things cascaded, all three of those things together. So, the RTN seems to have stopped. The corals, the acros are all growing. They're starting to color up. There's some crazy stuff happening. So yeah, I think, if I don't screw it up again, we're going into a good phase.
Okay.
So don't depress me. Everyone be very gentle to me and be very supportive.
Richard is a very sensitive feller.
If the tank goes down, it's your fault.
Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Don't you put that evil on me.
I'm going to put a cougar in your car.
Wow. A big black tip shark in the tank.
Yeah.
In the bathtub with you.
So those Colostrea that you have, those are like straight up like radioactive green?
Yeah.
And so you would in fact like the metallic teal Colostreas?
Yeah, I think some people call that the jade.
Jade. Okay.
Yeah. And I had some pink ones. They were pink.
Huh. That's different.
Yeah. And,
I do remember the ones too that have the white on there. I don't have them, but remember the kind of old school ones that have the little white.
So yeah, if you got funky candy cane coral, let me know about it. I'd be happy to purchase some from you because I'm rebuilding my funkiness.
No, it's not going to purchase. And beefers, I'm not suggesting everyone do this, but this is the way we used to do it back in the day. You have a friend that's a reefer, and we used to just give each other stuff.
Yeah, but I can't.
I know.
I'm happy to send you money for your corals.
But do a little bit of that sometimes, because that's the old school way of doing stuff.
You should absolutely do that with people in your area. People who are near you, you should just give them freaking coral.
What I mean, this is an old concept too, but it's also, what did we call it? Arcing or whatever? Where
Arcing.
Banking. Yeah, you had a coral you liked a lot. Well, kind of cut it up a little bit and spread it out there. If yours gets zapped, then you're like, hey, Ricky Bobby, I need that strawberry shortcake again. You got a little piece of that?
I'm the magic man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great thing to do. When this gets ready to really trim, and I've got a bunch of corals in the other room I have to pass on to people. But I contact the local club, Bay Area Reefers, and go, hey, come on over and get corals.
Did that pump I sent you covered in Polypore that made it okay?
Yeah, it's in the other room.
It was weird.
I'll show you next time we record.
Yeah,
It's great. It's great. I'm excited to have that. Cool. Herberturga perganerga. Slurgaturga ferga.
Perpetur.
Perpanerga ferg. Hamanerga. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Richard.
You are very close to the camera, and I think I know why.
Why?
Because you are excited about saltwateraquarium.com sponsoring this episode.
So much so.
Tell me why. Tell me why you love them.
Man, there's too many reasons to count. The one thing that I like is that they have 3 separate shipping locations, and I dig that because they can, across the United States, they can get your package off to you with a quickness. You know what I like? I ordered some inverts for them. They're doing cleanup crews and stuff. Yeah, did you get it?
I did get it, and they shipped them really fast. And they keep their tanks fallow, so there's no fish, so you shouldn't get any fish diseases. And they say all the stuff is big, and they say it will arrive well and packed properly for the temperature. And so I just ordered some. I didn't tell them I was ordering some, and it came in, and they were awesome. Big turbo snails, big. What are those other snails that crawl in the sand?
Necarius?
Necarius snails. They were great. They came in nice and warm, not too hot, not too cold. They came in when they said they were going to be here. They were packed really well. And the coolest thing I thought was they had bags, and printed on the bag was the kind of invert that was in the bag. And
yeah, I like that.
And space for someone to write the number. So It was like I didn't have to go or read somebody's, chicken scratch. So I thought that was pretty great. Pretty great. So I like that.
They also have a Facebook forum that you can engage them on.
Yeah, and they've got free shipping on all orders. So no minimum price. Other places make you pay $39 before you get free shipping. You can order one Necarius snail and they would ship it to you. But that would be kind of dicky, so don't do that.
Yeah. The funny thing, I was at a client's today and they needed a Ciche Synchro 5 pump, and I just told them to order it from them. We ordered it from them today.
It's perfect. And if you're going to order from them, if you're a beefer and you're going to order from them, Snowman will put the link up right now. We have a special link that they can know that you've ordered because of us. So that'll be on the screen now. It'll also be below us in the description, and it'll be on our website. So check them out. Go to saltwateraquarium.com. They've got reward points. They take any kind of payment you want. They got programs, discount programs for the military and first responders and civil service and healthcare workers. They're just doing a lot of good stuff. They started as a small family business, and they're growing. And I feels like they're doing it right. And they've been supporters of us, and we used them before the Reef beef was even on the grill. So check them out. Here's the link again. There's the link. It's covering my face. The link is covering my face. Saltwateraquarium.com. What's it called, Ben?
Saltwateraquarium.com.
Fabulous. Herberturga perganerga. Hamanerga. Hey, Ben, what's on your head?
It is a reef beef. I guess I have it in a situation I like to call a do-rag.
But what is it?
It's a fucking do-rag.
I was hoping you would say something like it's a reef beef do-rag.
It's a reef beef do-rag. Sorry to disappoint. Man, when I was a skater punk, when I was a kid, we used to have things like this. We called them head gaskets. So maybe I'll call it a reef beef head gasket. It's a little unnerving for me because it has my face on it, and I don't know what sort of weird universe. Hey, you could rob a bank like that.
I could take over a Somali ship.
You know how stupid that would be to commit a crime with your face on your, It
would be pretty stupid. I love these things. When Snowman said he could make them, I was so happy. I used them all year last year when I was on the water with COVID. I use them when I'm in the field like crazy because I don't want the back of my neck to burn. So I love these things. I'm glad we've got them. And that's why are we talking about merch? Because it's our 25th episode. We've done 25 episodes.
That's not bad.
25 episodes. And we want to thank our people, our beefers for supporting us. Everyone who's become a member, anyone who's bought us a beer, all that kind of stuff. It's been really helpful. We just got some new equipment for Snowman to do editing. So, the show wouldn't be going on without you. And we totally dig it. And this episode is going to be a lot about Ask Reef Beef. If you have questions for us, if you become a member, we'll answer them in the show. So that's what we're going to attempt to do today.
Beefers, my little message here is that this is funny because this just started as Richard and I was like, hey, let's do a thing. And it wasn't even called Reef Beef in the beginning. It was Talking Shit with Rich and Ben.
Talking reef shit.
Talking reef shit. Like, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. And I don't know that we still do, but we're getting there. But this is cool. Like, I had no idea we're going to make 25 of these, and hell, hopefully we'll make 25 more and 25 after that. But
yeah,
really, to be honest with you, the impetus for us having made 25 and continuing to do this is because we have fans for real, which is a little unnerving to me at first, but it's crazy.
Oh my God. Did I tell you I was in Aquatic Collection the other day? The local store where I do most of my
shopping. One I like.
Yeah. It's like the only one left within a half-hour drive from my house, or 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And Carson, the owner, comes over to me. I was in there for about 10 minutes. He comes over and goes, hey, these people want to meet you. And it was a couple of beefers from far away. And I'm sorry, I can't remember their names. If you are listening, please write in the comments and let us know your names so we can thank you specifically. They were in town going to an A's game, and they talked to Carson to get him to introduce them to me, which I thought was pretty fun. And so I chatted with them for a while till they had to go to the game. But that was pretty cool to have somebody who's only seen us come and say hello, Yeah. So that's pretty hip.
I mean, it is funny because when more especially you than me, but when we go to a MACNA, like, that's kind of our jam, and that's all our friends there and this and that. But that would be weird to bump into someone and say, hey, you're on that podcast, because it's still really small, but I guess we're gaining traction enough to where someone could.
Yeah, we're gaining traction. And, the size of, we're a specialized podcast in a luxury hobby.
Yeah.
I don't know how big our throw is going to be. We're clearly not trying to appeal to beginners, although we're not trying to not appeal to beginners.
Yeah.
But we're not trying to sell it like, hey, we got stuff. We're just talking about whatever it is that we're interested in. So
yeah, I mean, not gimmicky. We never wanted to do that.
We never wanted to do that. So we're not, we want it to grow, subscribe, press the buttons, send us stuff, all that kind of stuff. Leaves a review wherever you listen to podcasts. That's all helpful and stuff. Go to our sponsors. That's all great. But, we got stuff that we like to talk about, and we have opinions, and we certainly love to answer your guys' questions when you guys have stuff you want to talk about. So,
also too, another thing is sometimes we say fuck.
We do. We are the number one. We were officially, we actually got an award. And it started as a joke, but it's turned into an actual award. The number one vulgar reef keeping podcast by Vulgar Reef Keeping Podcast Daily.
I mean, and that's the thing. If you watch another reef related podcast and someone says fuck, they're just coming right after us. We already did that.
Oh, you mean they're
just copying.
Fuck TM. We own it.
We own the fuck. So fuck off.
Yeah. So thank you guys very much. We got a couple of pieces of business to talk about, and then we're going to get to the questions. I want to say the Reef2Reef LGBTQ discrimination crap is still going on. That hasn't gone away. I saw another podcast talking about it, and some people were very grumpy about it and saying the things that make me think they don't understand what's happening. The main one they say is, it's a reef. First of all, they say Reef2Reef can do whatever it wants. They can absolutely do whatever they want. I think that's a weird argument because we can also do whatever we want. Or the people who organized the change.org petition, which has got 2,800 signatures now, they can also do whatever they want.
We'll link that petition.
Yeah, link it right there. Where are they going to link it, Ben?
Like right there.
Okay, good. So it's a weird thing to say, well, of course they can do whatever we want. So can everybody else. So that's such a weird non-argument to me.
I mean, isn't that how the world works? It's like the court of social media. So, I mean,
it's like somehow they should be able to do what they want, but we shouldn't be able to do what we want because they don't agree with us. It's a very strange position to take. And the other thing that I keep hearing come up is people saying that, if it doesn't have to do with reef keeping, we don't want to hear about it. It's like, yeah, I agree. And that's actually the crux of the entire point. If Reef2Reef had a policy that it was only reefing discussion, we would have nothing to say. I mean, I would literally shut the hell up because they're doing the same thing to everyone. Everyone's being treated the same. No discussion of off reef keeping topics. No off-topic discussion. That is absolutely not what Reef2Reef is doing. Prayers don't have anything to do with reef keeping. Barbecue has nothing to do with reef keeping. The Mandalorian has nothing to do with reef keeping. Go-karts have nothing to do with reef keeping. Hunting has nothing to do with reef keeping. All discussions that are had on
wait. If you have a super bad case of dinoflagellates, you might put prayers in there somewhere if you're so inclined.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't say pray for my uncle who's got a goiter.
Well, unless he was inside of your reef tank.
Well, I think that goes without saying, Ben.
That could be a source of dinoflagellates right there. Can goiters cause dinoflagellates? Let us know in the comments section. You fucking...
Woo! So, yeah, that's going on still. I wish people would be, more understanding about it. But, I'm sure we'll talk about it again. It's not going to go away until they do something about it. And I know some of the sponsors have pulled their sponsorship. Some sponsors won't say anything about
not
it
of us, but of them.
Of Reef2Reef.
Clarification.
And I think check out Masna's diversity statement. We'll put the link right up here. Masna's diversity statement, signed by many of the Aquarists of the Year and Masna Award winners.
Even me.
And even Ben, a nobody.
Wait, I'm somebody.
No, not really. Not really. If you were somebody, your face would be on a do-rag.
Oh my God.
Oh, you're somebody.
But that's when I had short hair.
No, we have to take a new promo picture.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that Masna's come out with a diversity statement makes me really happy. I think, this is dumb stuff that's important. And Reefs.com, our friends at Reefs.com have also come out with a statement that you can check out as well. We'll put a link to as well, where they say it really nicely. Aquariums are safe and wonderful, and they help people, and they don't contain politics, history, or discrimination. It's for everybody, and everyone can learn about the natural world. So, regardless of, how you live your life, it's reef keeping's for you. And it's troubling in this day and age that there exist online communities, hobby communities, where people feel uncomfortable being themselves. No one should have to experience their comments being deleted or edited, provided that they're not hurting anyone in the community. This is not in the best interest of the hobby. Indeed, it is quite the opposite of the slow democratic march of history. So, Reefs.com is one of the forums that's really committed to diversity and accepting everybody. So, go check them out. We'll put a link to that right here, right in my ear is where the link is.
He's not going to do it. He's going to make it go in your other ear.
Snowman can do all kinds of stuff.
Snowman's magical.
We'll see what Snowman does with that. There was one more thing that I remembered that I wanted to clear up before we get to the Aiptasia thing, which is that Humblefish Forum has been a supporter of us, or it's been really nice to work with them for the Reef2Reef stuff. If you have any medical questions, that's a great forum to go to. But I think I referred to the owner of the forum as Brian for a long time, and his name is not Brian. His name is Bobby. So I'm sorry, Bobby. You're not Brian, you're Bobby, and I think you rock. So
that's pretty weird. Did you do remember my name is Ben, correct?
What?
Oh shit.
Oh my God. No, I know another guy named Brian, so I think that was just what happened in my brain.
Juxtaposition.
Herberturga perganerga. Slurgaturga ferga.
Perpetur.
Perpanergaferg. Hamanerga.
Hey Richard, this episode is powered by PolypLab.
Powered by PolypLab.
Powered by PolypLab. What kind of things do you use by PolypLab?
By PolypLab, I use actually more stuff than you would think. I don't know why I said that. What does that even mean? I don't know what
if I think that you use like 66 PolypLab products?
The first thing I've used by PolypLab is Reef2Reef here, and I use it a lot when I'm breeding corals. So I use it as a first food for corals. It's got a nice consistency and it mixes up well into the water column. So I use that and I flush it through and I feed my baby corals with that, little baby SPS corals. I also use this stuff here. It's called Polyp Booster, and it's like a smelly bait. I put it kind of chums the water. You put it in and it gets the polyps to go, ooh, food's a coming, and they open up. So I feed the tank behind me with this stuff too, and I use the Polyp Booster on that. I like both of those products. I use them. I used them before they were sponsors of our show. So that's my favorite kind of sponsor to have, something I already was using. What do you use by PolypLab, Ben?
Well, how are
you powered by PolypLab?
I'm using all 67 PolypLab products. No, just kidding. I also use the Reef2Reefs too. What I do is when I first walk up to a client aquarium, is the first thing I do is take a big fat pinch and put it into the main pump. It throws the Reef2Reefs all over the tank. I get my stuff ready. And I generally do a lot of my water changes through wet skimming. So then I go through and I wet skim out, hopefully most of that's floating around and is left over. So kind of like a heavy in and then a heavy out.
That's a really great way to flood feed.
Yeah.
You should always flood feed with PolypLab products before you do a water change.
Yeah.
Another thing I like is their lens. This is the lens that goes on their camera on my phone, and that gives me some good images with kind of true color. Behind me, I've got new lights on here, so I haven't yet dialed this in with the new lights, but I will, and I'll let you know how that works out. And there's one other thing.
You too. I thought I was special.
I'm special. We're both special.
Here's their little gel super what brain fart
super glue,
yeah, the glue that is super. No, but I like these little tubes because whenever I've ordered any of the other bigger tubes of products, like the nozzle, I don't care what kind of design the nozzle is, it gets mucked up. So I like these because I can do a few frags and then move on and chunk this, and I don't have to worry about messed up nozzles.
Yeah, often this is the perfect amount of glue if you come home with like 3 or 4 frags. This is exactly what you need instead of wasting a whole thing. So PolypLab powering our podcast.
But wait, I'm not done yet. I have one more.
What?
Yeah.
I can't.
We've
what
never
is
talked
that?
about this one. This is called One. I have used it several times before. So it's one of these like all-in-one products where it has alkalinity and calcium in it. Now, so you have to shake it up before you use it though. So it's tricky. It's not something that you can dose, but I like it for like real small, like nano reef tanks. And then you can just use the cap, but it comes in a dry powder and you reconstitute it. And before you use it though, you have to shake it vigorously and then add it in there. But it's like an all-in-one major minor element add, but it's called PolypLab One.
Fantastic.
A lot of glare going on.
I'll take a look at it. So check out PolypLab. They've been very kind to us and supportive of the show from the very beginning. We like Phil. We like everybody over at PolypLab. So check them out. Reef Beef, powered by PolypLab.
Powered by PolypLab.
Powered by PolypLab.
Powered by PolypLab.
Powered by PolypLab. Herberturga perganerga. Hamanerga. And now, before we get to Ask Reef Beef Questions, we're trying to cover reef pests every show. And we're not going to do it this show because we got Ask Reef Beef. We'll get back to it as a segment. But we talked about Aiptasia, and there was a couple of biological controls that we neglected to touch on. What
we
were
neglected
they, Ben?
something.
What did we neglect, Benjamin?
I was perusing the YouTube comments. Like, it was funny in the beginning. We said we're never going to do it, but I actually love doing it now. So I mean, if you want to engage with us, with me, go in the YouTube comments. But so right away, when that show released, you know, I get it. It's kind of stupid, but I get excited because I get excited to see like the comments roll in.
It's fun.
And so right off the bat, someone was like, "What about Aiptasia eating filefish?" And I was like, you're correct. Which, by the way, a hopeful sponsor of us one day, Biota, they have captive bred Aiptasia eating filefish. And also, I have, and let me say this though, I put that, not the Biota one, I got it from somewhere else. I put it in a tank full of Aiptasia and nothing happened. But I mean, that is your case in point of that. None of this shit is like, you know, you get peppermint shrimp, you get copper banded butterfly, you get Aiptasia eating filefish, any of this stuff, and you're like, eat it. Sometimes it doesn't happen.
Yeah, biological controls are hit and miss. The other one we didn't mention is Klein's butterflies. And there's a whole host of butterflies that a raccoon butterfly will likely mow down your Aiptasia. It's also going to mow down a whole lot of corals that you like. So I
like Klein's butterflies. I've put them in aquariums, not even for, I mean, it's a pretty butterflies. You got to love looking at them, but you got to leave a lot of them alone. There's a lot of obligate coralivores in there, but Klein's do great.
We had Klein's in the Big Reef at the Steinhardt, and they started going to town on corals.
Really?
So we had to catch them out. They seemed like and like in that tank, it was like, why are you eating these corals? You are so getting enough food.
What was it identifiable? Like soft corals, or was it LPS?
They were nibbling on acros and they were nibbling on gorgonians. It was really obnoxious, and catching them was really obnoxious. We tried many ways, but what I eventually did was I made I got a crab trap, a wire crab trap. So that's got a door that's got a string on it, and you pull the string and it closes the door, and then you can pull the whole trap up, right? And your stuff is stuck inside. So I put like an envelope of mesh inside of there, and I would fill it with shrimp, and I would put it down in the deep in the reef, like 12 feet down, and I'd lay on the catwalk and sit there, or I'd do it by snorkeling and snorkel above. I'd sit there and hold a string for like hours and wait for our clients to go in, which took like 2 weeks for them to finally go in. And then I was able to catch one of them, and that went and then the second one went pretty quickly.
You know, let me ask you a real quick question.
Okay.
Besides all the complaints that you might have had of working in a public aquarium, did you ever sit there while you were snorkeling and hovering above a trap in a 220,000 gallon aquarium and thinking that you could also be sitting at a desk crunching numbers?
Yeah. Yes. The first 5 years, 6 years of that job were unbelievable. And about half of the rest of the job, the time I was there, was also unbelievable. Yeah. So yeah, just really, really incredible stuff. I mean, you know, my job was to catch fish in a 200,000 gallon tank because my team had determined that those fish were problematic.
Yeah.
Super friggin' cool.
Yeah.
Super freaking cool.
I mean, there's pros and cons to working in the public aquarium world. 100%.
100%. So what do you think the pros and cons are? Put them in the below in the comments.
Well, I mean, that'd only be freaking valid if you're watching this and you're a beefer and you've had public aquarium experience. Put a friggin' comment in the section. Tell us what you thought the pros and cons were, or don't. You know what? I don't care. No, just kidding.
You do care. You deeply care.
Deeply.
Should we get to questions?
Let's hit it.
Okay. SAF1 asks, does Rich Rich has mentioned glass blowing. Can you show some glass?
Come on, baby. Put them on the glass.
I can. So I've been blowing glass for 20, 25 years and do all kinds of stuff. Plates, goblets, cups, everything. Here's some of my current work. It's a vase form that I'm doing. Getting into the colors. You can see these at, where's a good place to see these? That's a good question. Richard Ross Handbone Glass or atomicglass.com is my old website. Here's one of the newer shape I'm making.
You know what? When I die and I'm cremated, maybe I could be like, my ashes could be put into one of your vases.
Here's a sculpture I made. It's a hand with a spike through it like Jesus, and it's got a fish on it, and it's got some blood coming out of the side. It's called Only on Fridays. It's got to do with Lent, and the fish's face is Hitler.
Oh.
See a little Hitler mustache on the fish? Yeah. So I'm fucked up in the head.
No.
And then the one more thing I'll show because it's related. This is a cuttlefish catching a fish.
A cuttlefish.
So
that's cool.
I don't just do Hitler artwork.
You should have put a Hitler mustache on that cuttlefish.
No, I was specifically not trying to make everything about Hitler when I made that piece. So that's some of my glass. You can see more of that if you're interested. And I sell it from time to time when I remember.
By the way, I have visited Rich twice in San Francisco area, and I've gone to his studio twice. And one time what do you call it? I blew in your rod.
You blew in my rod. Wow, you like to go there, don't you? Yeah.
I have no fear, my friend.
Was that cool?
It was cool, but I was scared because it was like, I tend to be like too gruff. And so it's like, I'm either 0 or 100. And you were like, blow very carefully. It's in the metal tube, and he got a glob of glass on it. And he's like, I'm going to roll it back and forth. And I need you to like follow and like blow in this tube, but not too hard, but not too soft. And I was like trying to, tell Richard, I was like, dude, I'm not a good like metered type person. It's all or nothing.
Nothing will focus your ADD bullshit like having 1800-degree glass an inch from your hand.
Yeah.
Next time you're out, we'll play with it again.
Oh, it's fun.
Let's see. Let's ask some questions. Lexi Invert says, does Ben really go running in flip-flops?
Well, I used to run a whole lot. I used to run daily. And actually, sometimes I used to run in flip-flops. And I guess that's someone that's friends with me on Facebook or something, because I put a really lewd meme that I will just probably, we're pretty lewd on here, but just whatever.
Okay, that's an easy one.
Yes, sometimes I run in flip-flops.
Herpaturga perganerga. Slurgaturga ferga.
Perpetur.
Perpanergaferg. Hey Ben, do you remember when we did that ad for UniqueCorals?
Yeah.
Unique, they sponsored us and we did an ad and we got kind of goofy. And I think the ad came across kind of lame sauce. I think it kind of made it seem like we didn't like them as much as we actually do. And I guess, that's part of the issue with the kind of podcast we do is sometimes we miss.
Irreverent.
Luckily, we have missed very rarely so far. But I wanted to go back and talk about UniqueCorals again because I really do like UniqueCorals. I like to order from them. I like to use their stuff. I like the corals. When I'm looking for corals for spawning, which I have several times, I've worked with UniqueCorals and they help me get what I actually need, some custom stuff. Instead of just get me a frag, I need a specific coral from a specific location, and several of them, from specific locations and specific distances apart. And they've been very, very helpful to help me do that. And I totally trust them for that. And I totally recommend them for other corals. Everything I've ever gotten from them has come in packed beautifully and survived really well. What's your experience?
A lot of people think of them as retail, but don't forget they also, they can also deal with you on a wholesale level as well. And I've done that with them. Man, let me talk about the dry goods because they have a skimmer that I'm super hot on. It's the Delua Great White Skimmer. There's a GW5 and GW10.
Yeah.
And, you know, for reef tanks around 200, 250 gallons and smaller, dude, I'm telling you. So now I have 4 of these units out there. One of them I've had going for 3 years. The other ones I just recently put on. A client has a lot of tanks in his house, and I put 3 of them in there, and it's just, they're killer. You got to check them out. The Delua Great White Skimmer.
Right on.
And also, too, I've gotten the Marco Rock, the little bucket of concrete, because I have to do a lot of aquascaping in my business. And sometimes I use epoxies, but really nothing beats that hydraulic cement that they have. They have it in like light gray and also pink. Yeah. And I just recently got in touch with them, and I'm getting 2 buckets of the pink sent to me, because I'm going to use that purple, that real reef rock to make an aquascape. And I didn't want to put a weird color cement in there. So yeah, they have tons of dry goods too.
They've got Illumagic. I've never used that. Have you used one of those?
I have a client right now that has a 5-foot Illumagic above their tank.
Fantastic. And they've got Panta-Ray pumps, which I used a lot at the public aquarium, move a lot of water. They do all the Triton stuff. They do ICP testing at their LA lab. They're great. We like everything about UniqueCorals.
Yep.
Fish, livestock, dry goods, conscientious, sustainable quality and service. UniqueCorals.com. Check them out. We're proud to have them sponsor us. Schlurgaturgaferga.
Perpetur.
Perpanergaferg. Lexi Inverts has 3 questions. The second one is, what do we know about acropora spawning in aquaria? Is it possible to make cultured acropora colonies spawn? Or do gravid colonies have to be collected from the wild? Does Rich think there's a future in captive acropora spawning?
You are the perfect person to answer that.
I cannot pronounce acropora or acropora today. We know quite a bit. Jamie Craggs pioneered this stuff, so I always have to mention Jamie Craggs. I just got lucky enough to be in a place that was building a lab to do it. So got to work on that stuff. It's absolutely possible to make cultured acro spawn. It just takes about, it takes at least a year, right? So if we took this tank and we closed it to outside light, we put it in a dark room, and we set the lunar cycles and the temperature cycles and the light, the sunrise and sunset cycles and the intensity cycles through the apex, in a year, I would expect to get some of these corals spawning. There's no reason why, the blue stags shouldn't spawn. So
let me ask you a question real quick.
Let me just add before I forget. The reason it takes at least a year is because it can take 8 months for the corals to develop their gametes. So it might take more than a year, because you might need to get them ramped up on the system and hit them at the beginning, so it may be, you need a lead in, and then when it's their fall, their autumn, then they start building gametes, and then the cycles keep running out till the next summer when they spawn. So it just takes the time. They're not like a clam that you can inject with serotonin and then they jizz all over the place. They can take half a year or more to just develop the gametes, and then the gametes need to mature. So, and what Ben?
So you named a bunch of parameters or situations, like lunar phases and seasonal light changes, temperature, all that. Do we know yet? Do you know yet? Does one of those parameters stick out above the others, or it all seemingly?
I would say the 2 most important ones are, lunar cycle is critical. And I think sunrise and sunset cycles are critical as well. And I think they also are connected to the lunar cycles. You don't get the same moon exposure if the sunrise and sunset don't change as well. So both of those change over time. So you get more moonlight at certain times of the year than you do at other times. And that's what seems to be cueing the corals to do the synchronous spawn.
Do corals produce hormones?
Sure. They're animals. Of course they do.
So I wonder if those lunar phases and photoperiods, if those affect like production of hormones.
Absolutely. I mean, it seems pretty clear they do. They may even be producing hormones that allow them to spawn synchronously, because that's the deal, right? You need the corals to different genetic lines of the same coral need to spawn at the same time, so you get fertilization to happen.
Yeah.
You know, one coral in your tank spawning is probably not helpful, because that's like masturbating. You're not going to get a baby from it.
Yeah. I do have a client tank, that 10 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot tank.
Yeah.
Now in the past we had like about 6 large tridacna clams, squamosas and dorasas in there. Yeah. And man, all the time I have it on video. I'll show a video. Snowman will throw it on here. That I witnessed many different spawning. You know, obviously I was never trying to grow out anything, but I've witnessed many spawning events right in front of my face.
Do you know if you saw eggs or just sperm?
I do know for a fact that I did watch one shoot out eggs, because awesome. I would watch most of them shooting out sperm, which looked like a really fine smoke. Yeah. All the time. And I stood it, and I believe I have a video. I had to dig for it, but I did witness one of them. I was like, okay, that's not what I'm used to seeing. And they were like visible, tiny little orbs.
That's very cool. And they cycle much faster. So that I would expect the cycles, the lunar cycle, the lunar phase to have something to do with that as well. Mm-hmm. And in stony corals, you know, I would expect that the temperature cycle has a lot to do with it as well, as a cue for when to develop or when to spawn.
Would you think that the fact that when we're keeping a reef tank and we're just kind of keeping a reef tank, we're not thinking about reproduction, like, do you think that harms corals not to be involved in the reproduction phases? I mean, is that like the next level of reef keeping 10, 20 years from now? Like that we'll have to be doing that?
I think so. I think that's two questions. I think not spawning doesn't hurt them. Okay. I think we probably have more spawning happening than we know of, especially with wild colonies or maricultured colonies, you know, colonies grown out in the sea that are exposed to regular cycles. I think the spawning happens after we're asleep, so most of the time we miss it. I don't think we're having tons of it, but I think it happens more often than we think.
And then we don't even see the aftermath.
Correct, because it just clears up by morning. There were some other parts of the question. Talk about, do gravid colonies have to be collected from the wild? No. Jamie has done this already in his home system. I almost did it until all those corals mysteriously croaked out. But we collect gravid colonies to start with, because in a funded research event, you want results as quickly as possible. So we could say, we're going to set this up in December, and we'll probably have coral spawning in April, which is cool on its own. To go and collect corals and bring them back and still have them spawn when they're supposed to, like they do in the wild, is a pretty cool thing to do. But then you've got those corals, and then the next year they should spawn again. So we did the gravids to give a jump start to the whole thing. You know, you still have to have the cycle match what's going on in the wild. Otherwise, they'll reabsorb the gametes and there won't be a spawn. Is there a future in captive acropora spawning? I think so. I think the main hurdle right now is not the spawning itself, although you've got to be a nut to do it because it takes so long, and you have to stop. Intensive, right? You have to stop the light pollution. I mean, you could do it. It's not hard, but you just have to commit to it. The big problem is growing out the babies, because they're so small and everything wants to overgrow them. And it's really labor intensive to keep them clean and keep them from getting overgrown.
I mean, hypothetically, a hobbyist could do it, but I mean, you're usually talking about like an institution with some benefactor throwing money at you to pull that off.
I would spend, a couple hours a few times a week with dental tools and magnifying under a microscope, scraping things around. It's really labor intensive. People are working on it. There's probably, a dozen different ways being trialed to figure out how to automate it and make it go faster, make it go easier, be less labor intensive, less cost intensive. You could have a computer do it with lasers. You could just tell it what is and what isn't a coral, and then it would laser everything that isn't a coral.
Like just get a Gallic and just teach it to farm corals.
Extra acropora.
Attack.
So yeah, I think there's a real future in it. It'd be great, right? I think the real way to go that we'll see happening, because it does take the corals a long time to grow out, but you could spawn a bunch of coral and then grow out 100 of those colonies and then start fragmenting those in a year or two. So you could be selling fragments of captively spawned corals, I think, faster than perhaps you would be selling baby corals.
Okay, but let me ask you, you kind of just said it, but are we talking hundreds or are we talking thousands?
It depends. So, on a spawning season, we would, get like 250,000 embryos.
Wow.
But, and they put out millions and millions of egg sperm bundles, right? And so it's kind of like the idea with something that spawns like that, at every stage of the development of the spawn, it's like 99.9% mortality. Just most of it dies at each stage.
I mean, think like sea turtles on the beach scenario.
Yeah, but this is so much more than sea turtles on the beach.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the same kind of thing. Most of those are not going to make it. So if you can get 100 corals to settle, and you can figure out a way to keep them clean, with co-culturing of urchins and maybe robots or people who just do all the work by hand, and are really committed to it, you should be able to get more than 99% of those to survive.
I want to eventually I want to live long enough to buy robot cultured corals.
Yeah, me too.
That's my goal in life.
Very cool. So, and everyone's working on that, right? We're trying to figure out ways to make the baby corals that settle more robust, so they live better and they live longer and they can deal with more stuff. We're trying to figure out ways to get them to settle where we want them to settle, instead of settling on the sides of frag plugs and under frag plugs, settling on a place where we can keep track of them. So I think it's coming. I don't.
One of the times that I visited you, we went up to Kaz or Steinhardt or whatever you want to call it. Man, you got the coughs, bro. Watch out.
It's a surfer's cough, baby.
Oh, okay. And yeah, we were looking under a microscope of one of the baby corals, and it was crazy. The time that I was there was when you identified like a single zooxanthellae.
Oh yeah.
Whatchamadoodie, like inside there, and you're like, I don't know. It was so crazy, and that you had like minuscule urchins, right?
Yeah, like millimeter baby urchins.
Yeah, like grazing around, clean it, because the algae was wanting to overgrow the little baby coral.
Yeah.
And then you had to, you crushed up other corals to get zooxanthellae into the water?
Yeah, so we took a branch or two of the parent colony and we crushed it up and we spun out the zooxanthellae or the Symbiodinium.
Oh, you can spin them out.
And yeah, you spin them out. And then we inoculated all the babies with them. Because what we really would want, what they'll uptake eventually, they'll uptake any symbiont algae, but we really would want them to uptake the ones that the parents have. Okay. So that's why we're trying to inoculate them with those. It's cool stuff. The third question that Lexi Inverts had was, why did Snowman make this text box only one line?
Only Snowman can answer that. Maybe Snowman will write his reasonings for that across the screen.
Snowman, why'd you do that? And what are you going to do about it?
What a dick.
God. You know what? He's got another question about, it's a long question. It's about lanthanum and the problems with lanthanum. And we'll send this all on to Craig Bingerman as well. Dr. Bingerman, Craig Bingman. But so he's got 800-gallon system, and he was trying to lower the phosphate by 0.5.
That's a little severe.
And
hope he did that slowly.
Well, it was 8 hours. And
I wouldn't do that.
About halfway through, he noticed that one of his wrasses had died and his yellow tangs were laying on the bottom. But he lost 4 flame wrasses and 6 yellow tangs. Ouch.
But let me ask this: did he do that intentionally, or it just happened?
Well, he was trying to lower the phosphate, I guess.
Please don't lower your phosphate by 0.5 in 8 hours.
Yeah, I think that I would imagine, you know, he was dosing into the skimmer. Seemed like a small amount, but to lower by 0.5 is not a small amount, I don't think. So yeah, you know, lots of things could have been happening there. The could have been precipitating out and interfering with their ability to breathe in their gills, you know, as the fine precipitate in the water.
Like even like kind of just getting caught in their gills.
Yeah. So but I'm sure Craig will have heard this, and I'll send it on to Craig too. And next time we have Craig on, we'll bring that up.
Craig Beeferman.
And I want to thank you, Lexi Invert, for your questions. We appreciate the support and the questions. Brooks Forsyth has a question. Have you heard of moonshiners reefing? I'm thinking of giving it a try. Seems like you dose trace elements based on ATI ICP tests.
I have never heard of that, and I don't want to poo-poo on something I don't know anything about. But well, yeah, I do. What am I talking about? No, but I am as of yet uncomfortable with using ICP to tell me to tweak around with trace elements. It's not that I don't have a grasp on that in my head. It's just I don't think that we're there yet.
Yeah. I looked into it a little bit. It looks, you know, it's one of the methods where you do what they say and you add what they say, and you're supposed to have good results.
To be quite honest with you, as far as I know, 10 years from now, that might be what we're doing. Yeah. But I just don't feel like that process is refined yet.
I mean, you know, as much as I don't like reef recipes, I understand people liking reef recipes. And if they're going to give you a reef recipe, you know, a lot of the angst of having to make your own decisions goes away. So, you know, what I'd like to see is, you know, like with any of the methods like this, you know, a study of the efficacy and, you know, what is successful, what's a successful tank, and how many tanks following this have been successful and how many haven't. I don't know. I don't see why it couldn't work. You know, it's another method.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know. Not our expertise. We tend to do it with what we can see rather than going after small numbers. And, you know, I think this looks all right. So Brooks, what I would do is I would go to all the forums you can, and I would look at all the pictures you can of tanks that do that system and see what you think of those tanks. And if you want a tank that looks like that, cool, go for it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the litmus test there. I mean, if it's just words on a page, I mean, that's cool. And that words on a page may one day transfer to hundreds of tanks that look badass.
Yeah.
But until that happens, meh.
And make sure you pay special attention to clock the ones that don't work, you know, or the ones that don't look good. You know, you make an informed decision about the width and breadth of the systems, not just the few that look good. Remember now. Brooks also asks, which is better, a mesh top or glass acrylic top? I know people use mesh because glass tops block light and reduce air exchange, but people are also buying diffusers for their LEDs. So now why not diffuse the light with the condensation on the top? Also, we have LEDs that are too powerful now. I'm not too worried about the gas exchange because I have a skimmer. Thoughts are, which one is better for keeping fish in a tank while also growing coral? Benjamin.
Mesh all day long.
Why?
I mean, glass, so freaking passe, grows algae on it. you know, and then you're saying condensation to diffuse lights. The lights have their own diffusers. And then so we have LEDs that are too powerful. Control that by renting or buying a par meter and fiddle around with raising or lowering your lights, you know? Yeah. And then whatever condensation is on your, you know, glass tops, that would just change day to day. You can't count on that to be some sort of specific diffuser. And a skimmer for gas exchange, sure. I don't think you can have too much gas exchange. I mean, you think of how our aquariums are, you know, enclosed in a stand, there might be a canopy, whatever. You know, you want carbon dioxide going away and you want oxygen coming in. It's, you know, sure, a skimmer could do that. But what is your skimmer vented to the outside? Is it stuck in a cabinet? Like, just having a skimmer doesn't really answer that question.
Boom. I know Matt Wandella's got a new tank that he's got pretty much sealed at the top. But
yeah, that thing is cool though.
But he's got tons of gas exchange in another part of the system. So
yeah.
It's not, you could seal it, you could put glass on it, but for all the reasons Ben mentioned, which essentially comes down to, you're not controlling anything, you're just hoping something happens.
It's random.
It's random, and you're gonna grow algae on it. That sucks. I got a center brace in the middle here that I have to scrape algae off of all the time.
Your next tank will be Euro braced.
This is also Euro braced. It's Euro braced and center brace. But yes, the next tank will not have a center brace in it because it's a slight pain in the ass. Although it's a nice place to store things.
Hey, beefers, we appreciate this. This is the 25th episode. That's cool. I didn't even ever know we were going to make 25 of these. But really, when I read the YouTube comments and all the fans and all that stuff, I'm not shitting you. Like, it leaves me feeling like I want to make far more than 25 more of these. Yeah. And it seems viable that we're like doing a thing. And the more, you know, every day I look at the membership numbers, and, you know, and it's small and incremental, but like Richard was saying earlier, we're like a niche inside of a niche inside of a niche. And we understand that. I don't know that we're ever going to be like 10,000 subscribers or something like that. But, you know, to be quite honest with you, I'm proud of all you people that like this page, because some of those pages that have 10,000 subscribers, honestly, I don't think half of those are even real.
You know, remember the show Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Oh, dude, it was huge. In my family, we loved it.
They used to have weird jokes, right? And Joel Hodgson was once asked, you know, who's going to get these jokes? And he said, you know, we never think about who's going to get the jokes.
The right people.
The right people are going to get these jokes.
Exactly.
And so the right people will find our podcast and like our podcast, and they already have, and we like
what I would want from beefers is people that are really engaging. I mean, anyone that watches this, please like comment in the YouTubes and, you know, like stuff, engage with us. That's what the hell we're here for. Yeah. You know, I don't give a shit about having 10,000 members of which none of them I engage with, but I do give a shit about nearly 500 people that I engage with in the YouTube comments or wherever the hell you want to engage me with. I like that.
Yeah, Reef Beef, we give a shit. Have a good week, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Take care. The bloopers at the end.
The bloopers.
The bloopers at the end. The bloopers.
Herpaturga perganerga. Slurga turga ferga.
Perpetur.
Perpanerga ferg. Hamanerga.
We both left the building. Oh, I am back before Richard.
Okay. That was probably really exciting for people to watch.
Yeah.
I hope Snowman leaves 4
We
minutes of
both
that in.
disappeared. Or he'll shorten it up a little bit. For me, I'm like, it's stupid to be a fan of your own show, but like I like the bloopers at the end.
The bloopers.
Yeah.
You're a fan of your own show?
Not really, not of watching me, but I do watch our shows. You have like a turtle head?
I'm a little Russian lady.
I should have done the whole show like this.
I bring corals from the fatherland.
My name is Olga.
The fuck are we doing?
No, I look more like they do from Young Frankenstein. Walk this way.
My name is Igor. There, coral.
Nice knockers. I don't know why I tried to do that. That didn't work.
We could be very serious. Let's be super serious for a minute.
Can I be serious like this?
Yeah. Be serious.
So, Richard.
Yes, Ben.
I don't know how to be serious. So you're gonna.
You do. Just don't fucking make jokes like that. Be serious.
It's a babushka.
No, stop it. Be serious. Serious.
Okay.
Be serious.
You lead off on the seriousness.
Well, we need to talk about something serious. What's the most serious thing you could talk about on reef tanks?
One day I'm gonna die. Oh, on reef tanks. One day your reef tank is gonna die. That's serious.
That is serious.
Don't fuck it up.
Reef tanks are built on a road of bones. It's not untrue.
It's not. And then there might be bones in your future. God, this thing's choking me.
I thought you liked that.
Now I look like E.T.
You like a Michael Stipe, David Carradine.
That's me in the corner.
Autoerotic reification.
That's me in the spotlight losing my religion.
Did I say Michael Stipe?
Yes, you did.
It's not Michael Stipe. What's his name? Oh shit.
I don't know, but I do remember that he autoerotic.
No, not Michael Stipe.
I know. But see, I'm good because I picked up you said Michael Stipe.
It's not Michael Stipe.
Okay, put in the comment section who is the lead singer of In Excess who died while
I know who it is.
Choking himself while masturbating.
I know it is. I know who it is.
Well, what's his name?
What's a song? What's a song? Suicide Blonde.
Suicidal Blonde.
Yeah. What about David Carradine? Same thing, right?
Kung Fu? Did he really?
Kill Bill? Same guy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, but no.
I guess when you can undo the belt from my hand without me touching you, you won't die while masturbating and choking yourself out.
Didn't
I guess
that reminds me of a trade show.
I guess he left some marks in the rice paper.
Yeah. You know how many women wanted the NSX dude? And he just had to like die masturbating.